BJ from Game Gumbo. I've got my guest Rob from the Board Boys podcast and also Logan from the Kadiana Discord, and we're talking about some spicy hot games that we played at Sobo. And I've got a game, and the reason I have it on my list is I want to talk about it, but also I know both of you guys played it. So yeah.
You played my copy. Yeah.
I think we did. We played Shackleton Base, not
did.
designed by Logan, but owned by Logan. This is by Fabio Lopiano and Nestore Magone. Two designers that I track with a lot in some of the games, but I don't always like every one of those games. Rob, I've got some thoughts, but I'm gonna let you. I'll let Logan give us a big description. What is Shackleton Base all about?
Well, like a lot of games that are space themed, you were trying to inhabit and set up a colony on the moon instead of terraforming Mars or something else. You're trying to set up shop doing for research and even tourism, depending on some faction.
I love Dave's description. It's Mardi Gras on the moon. I kept calling it rainbow farming Mars.
But yeah, you're setting up your little your biodomes right on the moon and stuff like that, trying to just colonize and do different actions. And there's 3 different factions that you're trying to appease as well.
We're in a crater, right? We're in a crater,
yeah,
and we're
in
trying
a massive
to mine
crater in the moon. Yeah.
Yep. But easier to catch the beads in low G. Like that. I don't know if that would actually be easier. That might be harder.
No, it'd be harder. It'd be way harder.
Oh man, they wouldn't hurt as much when they hit your teeth. You know when the big thick white beads hit you in the mouth.
Yeah, man. Look, so
the reason
I picked this up actually, I bought it secondhand in the virtual flea market at BGG way in November, but I finally got it played a month ago, and the main reason I bought it is because it's published by Sorry We Are French, who for me have been hitting out of the park with In the Footsteps of Darwin and The Footsteps of Marie Curie, and so but I heard this one was heavier. I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about, but it definitely checks all the right boxes for me. It's space theme, which is one of my favorite themes.
Now, Rob, on the audio podcast, they didn't see you throwing your arms up like Rocky whenever I mentioned Shackleton Base. Why were you doing that? What's your thoughts on this game?
Well, this was in the Hot Games room at BGG Con, and I didn't look at the designers at all, and I just was like, there were so many other games, I just skipped looking at it. Then I realized who it was, and I'm like, why did I skip that? So, same guy that I'm borrowing Endeavor Deep Sea from, same as Logan, got a copy off of BGG from somebody, and
it was tough to get for a while.
Well, yeah, it never came to the States, so these were all.
It still hasn't yet. It's being published, but I think I forgot who picked it up here.
Pandasaurus, because it's every other ad every time I turn on any piece of electronics. I don't know what kind of money they're throwing at the advertising, or maybe it's just specifically like to me. But
I only get 2 ads. I get Shackleton Base and I get something called Urban Footwear. I don't even know what that is, but Urban Footwear is going out of business and they're trying to sell me their shoes.
Yeah, I get a lot of Shackleton Base, but the replayability in that game is off the charts, I think, because there's 7 different companies that you can play with, and you only play with 3 at a time, and they're all different.
Yeah, we played with Brain Melt, Brain Destruction, and Totally Brain robbed me of my IQ, if I remember right. That's the 3 companies we played, I think, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. You were a farmer, I think.
I was the only one farming until the very last turn when Rob decided he would throw in there and try to get some farming going.
Why not?
What I did like about the game is the 3 different companies played differently. So I kind of called it reverse SETI, where you already know what the things that are going to come out. Yeah. And they're different every time, so you have to play toward them. Unlike SETI, where you could ignore the aliens if you really wanted to and just kind of focus on other stuff.
You could.
I don't think you can ignore the companies in Shackleton Base.
You can't.
Yeah.
They're a huge part of the game.
That's huge.
The cool part is even though they're all their own mini games, they all interact with the game the same way. So it's not like there's a crazy amount of new rules overhead playing with the different ones. Like even though they all have their own little one-sheeter to tell you what's up with it, they're really good. It's like setup is about this much for each of them. All their tokens work the same on the board as all the other tokens. And then on the back, it has an explanation of what all the cards do. So I think it's done really well.
And they come out right away, so it's not like SETI where they're, you have to, it's kind of a surprise.
You're
playing toward them, you're trying to build it up. It's not, the teach was great. It's just I have trouble with playing big games like this at the convention. I get that squirrel look. I've got so many things going on, and it's hard to focus.
Right, and I think a lot of people, some games are hard to table for some folks because they don't have a good game group or whatnot. So they want to play these kinds of games at a convention. But at the end of the day, it's your lighter partier games that really strike home and strike. Like, look, BGG Con, the one game I will always remember is Flip 7, right?
Yeah.
It's a very simple, straightforward game, but it's memorable to me because of the emotion it evoked when I think about it, even to this day.
But when I play with Rob and Cam, we're gonna play 3 heavy Euros back or medium heavy Euros back to back to back, and I just gotta plow through it and get to it. But by the time we got to the third age of the game or era, I can't remember what they called it in this one. They're like third turn, basically.
Whatever it is,
yeah.
By that time, I figured it out, but it was a little late. By that time,
sure.
I hadn't really done much in terms of leaves. I did get my big city out, whatever you call those. See that little pink thing in the corner there? I did get mine out. I didn't score a lot of points, but yeah, there's the famous Dave quote, "I'm out." Was that Revive, I think, where he just went, "I'm out"?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of worried about it after the first play. I'm fairly certain we played everything correctly the first time, but I somehow seemed to just do everything. And I'm like, is this a game that isn't going to challenge you? And then I played it again, and I didn't do nearly half of everything. So I don't know if that was a complete fluke the first time or something happened different, or maybe you do more somehow at lower player counts because we played at 3 players and it felt like you could do a lot more stuff than at 4.
I wonder if it's a player count dependent. Where
I've only played it at 3, so I don't know. That's a good question.
It's like I literally built every building on my board the first game we played.
Oh, I didn't do that.
And none of us did that in our 4-player game.
No, and I had all those middle buildings maxed out for 10 points apiece. And like, you know what? I didn't build all my little buildings, but I built all the other ones.
You don't have to brag. Just say you beat the game.
Well, that's what I was worried the first time I played it. Because a lot of times, like if you can do everything in a game, why are you still playing?
Sure. Why play it again? I totally get it.
So the twist in the game for me was you've got that crater and you're trying to put these people. You have to balance. You're trying to balance between 3 things. You're trying to put the people out on the edges so that way you could generate resources. Because without resources, you're dead in the water. And then you also need to have you and other players putting out people and still win the area majority on that length.
Yeah, the
so
area majority stuff is really. If you're not a dudes on a map, kind of player, or at least have some experience, I can see how this game could lose people.
But then you still have to worry about when you're placing these people. You have to worry about colors because I felt like I was taking a bad turn if I put a blue dude on a red track because I didn't get that bonus
action.
Yeah.
I think what the first play might have done too was I had everyone has a player power, and I had the builder player power, and then I also got cards that helped with buildings as well. And next time I teach that game, I think I'm gonna explain more that the cards are probably more important than you think. Like those cards can do all kinds of crazy stuff and break the game in a lot of different ways.
I think I only have 2 cards. I had only 2 cards the whole game, and Jared and JoJo seem to have a million of them,
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of ignore, but man, those cards are good. And so I played twice with the first game set of ones where you had to bounce off, so I didn't get to tell you what they were. But there's the first game you're supposed to play, there's one that's like a travel agency. So
that's the one I tend to play, but that's also my career. So
you're taking those astronauts out, so that's fun. There's one where you're basically just like delivering this stuff to wherever to the moon, and then the third one is what was the third one? Do you remember?
So let's see. There was the order fulfillment one that you talked about, the mining company.
Yeah, then there's the mining company, and then the one we played. There's like the farm, which that one was strange because you had to build the farms where you already had a building, but then
it's hard.
It had to be a different size because there was a size of 1, 2, 3. Like the farm wing seemed like next level kind of strategy things. And then we had one that was my favorite one, and it's the one Jared and I hammered pretty hard, was there's an asteroid coming for the moon, and there's different sections of it, and if you fill out the first section, you get to see what part of the moon it's going to hit, and then if you fill out the second section, you instead of hitting the whole section, it will just hit one square, and then if you do the whole thing, it will miss you completely.
Yeah,
so
I think Jared has the right thing in this comment here, but it is one of those games. While you have a lot of options, I think the best way, at least as far as the path to victory, you focus on one or two. That way you can try to get as much done as possible as far as points wise.
Logan, Duga has a good point. I didn't see the module where you can build a Legends or a car wash on the crater, because we seem to have 72 Legends.
I'm sorry, I'm in Youngsville, Louisiana, so it would be a storage facility on the moon.
It would be a storage facility, yeah. In our town, Rob, we have car washes and Legends grill everywhere,
and Mexican restaurants.
And
that's the joke here too. It's all storage facilities and Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is Shackleton Base. I'm not ready to ready yet. I didn't grok it until the end, so I definitely want to play it again. And I'm wondering if a 3-player game would be a little bit quicker. I think there was a little bit of downtime till it got back to my turn. So, sure. And Rob was laughing at me because I had my fingers on my player board, because by the time it got back to me, I was trying to
forgot what you wanted to do. Yeah,
because if I didn't, I would forget exactly what I was supposed to be doing. So.
Sure.